Welcome to Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host,
Charlie Seymour, along with.
Tim Sternberg. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great, man. I am living the dream. Another great week to chat with you about all things pop culture and sports. Particularly, we're going to be having a large talk about baseball this episode. If you haven't noticed the graphics around us, this is a baseball themed episode, but we're going to have a little pop culture in there as well.
And if you are listening and not watching, my pal over here, Tim, is
Yeah.
draped head to toe in Mets gear.
And Charlie is representing the Cubbies there. I love it. I
I got
love
my
it.
Cubs hat on with the World Series patch right here.
Good. Good for the Cubs. Yes.
Hey, it
We're,
was
we're,
it was
we're
it was a little bit ago, but
no, dude. I mean, how 100 and what years?
yeah, exactly. We'll take what we
Yeah.
can get.
Listen, we're going to talk about the baseball season. Yeah, in a few minutes. Ooh, to be a Mets fan in 2024, 2020, in 2024 to be a Mets fan. But yes,
Hey, just remember to look at the calendar. It's April 2nd.
oh, don't start with that. All right, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. And for those, I appreciate you mentioning that, Charlie, because oftentimes when we do this podcast, I always think of it only as a visual podcast. But yes, we have tons of listeners out there on Spotify, Apple Podcast, you name it, wherever you get your podcast. Please like our podcast. Share our podcast, follow our podcast. We're also on TikTok as Around the Bases podcast. Please, on Instagram, follow us on social media. Let us kind of show this to the masses. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. This PSA is brought to you by the letters A, B, and C. All right, anyway. So how's it going, buddy? What's up?
Oh, pretty good. Love that baseball season's back. So
Today was a good day for you. We'll get to that in a minute.
yeah, today was a good baseball day.
Today was a good day for me because we got rained out. So
They didn't lose.
we didn't lose.
Hey, the Mets, this is what's impressive, okay? You have yet to win a game, yet you still have a full game lead over not last place. Think about that.
Because
The Marlins are 0-6. So, hey,
and that's my other team. So isn't that nice? Isn't that nice?
the
That's so
grass is
nice.
always not greener somewhere else, right?
Oh, I could go down to Marlins Park. Yeah, 40-minute drive down to Miami. Sure, no problem.
You could have
Um,
seen Trout hit a 473
yeah,
foot moonshot.
yeah, I know. I didn't want to go down there by
That
myself, so
thing
I'm a little
left the
pathetic.
stadium. I don't know if I've seen one
He,
hit there that far.
he's amazing. The dude is like, I mean, it's Mike Trout, but it goes without saying. I mean, it's amazing. This is his 13th season in the bigs, I think, 12th or 13th season, and he's still like doing amazing things. So yeah, I mean, awesome. I can't fault Trout at all. But yes, I could have went down to Marlins Park and saw that massive home run. There was also a home run I did see a couple of years ago, a major like J Rod, Julio Rodriguez's first home run. I was there. So there you go. I have
That's a good
seen
one to
some
see.
things. Yeah, it was in Marlins Park. At least that park is good for something. But bum. But yeah, we're gonna talk about baseball in a minute. See, we can't help ourselves. We
Yeah, don't want
we
to
we
get too
kind of
far down the rabbit hole.
yeah. But talking about pop culture, because we are a pop culture and sports podcast after all. And by the way, I want to take a moment real quick to thank Mike from last week who joined us and Rob from a couple of weeks ago. We're gonna have some guests coming up in the next couple of weeks too that are really cool and involved. And one of those guests is going to be from the show The Floor. So that's going to be really fun. And we have a guest coming who wrote that theme that you just heard. The great Nick Testa is going to join us in a couple of weeks. Charlie doesn't even know this. I'm just telling him this for the first time
Breaking
because I just
news.
talked to Nick tonight. So that's coming up. I'm real excited about that. Nick is an amazing, Charlie will agree, I know.
Oh, he's the
Amazing,
best.
amazing dude. But yeah, I'm excited coming up.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So real exciting. Speaking of pop culture, are you watching the season of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I am going out with a bang.
Oh my God. There's a theme going on, right? Of Larry David getting pounced on, would you say? Like,
It's certainly setting up to be how he's tying Curb and Seinfeld together with a nice little bow. For
yeah.
those who I'm sure not many who haven't watched Seinfeld, Seinfeld ends basically with them put on trial as like a, how are you are as a human. And this is totally leading it right into that same. They're testing his character. They're going to bring back all these character witnesses, and oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the finale.
I would note though that that Seinfeld finale is greatly maligned by many
Yes,
people.
and
Uh,
maybe he wants a second crack at it.
Yeah, maybe. But I will tell you, time does amazing things. I will say I was one of those people in 90, I think it ended in 99. When the show ended, I didn't like the finale, but as I've watched it on reruns over the years and I really thought about the genius that it is and being able to bring back the seasons and wrap everything up in a bow, like you said, um, it's brilliant. It was a brilliant finale.
For me, they have the same conversation from the opening pilot about the buttons on the jacket and the sweater. That to me was
Yes.
what was brilliant. I mean,
I just love
full
the
circle.
way.
Didn't we have this conversation before?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's, I
It's
mean, that
so
was just great.
amazing. And just to have like the characters like just revisit some of the key moments in like episodes like the contest and whatnot. It just I don't know. It was Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld together. Even the episodes of Curb were a couple of years ago where they did the Seinfeld reunion were brilliant also. I thought those were really well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to say this last episode that just aired was pretty hilarious. If you haven't watched it yet, I won't. It was not really a spoiler. Bruce Springsteen loves him because of what happened in Atlanta, where he gave the voter water, and so Bruce Springsteen wants to meet him. So Bruce Springsteen goes to LA, goes to his house, and meets him, and they're drinking water or something, and Larry's like, oh no, Bruce goes to take a glass, and Larry's like, no, this was not your glass, this was your glass, and Bruce goes, oh no, this was my glass, and so they they end up switching glasses, and it turns out that Larry had COVID. So
I love how they leave it open though. You don't know who actually had it and who gave it to who. But the fact that they
exactly.
switched glasses
Oh my God. So
and then he
that
gets outed, the news story, he gets COVID from Larry David. I didn't give him COVID.
Thinking of COVID, and then they're worried that like it's gonna affect the trial because everyone's mad that he gave the boss COVID and he had to cancel the LA concert, and
And the
uh
scenes before that, the lawyer had just
yes,
told him to just, stay low, stay out of
which he can never do, right?
never.
Whenever a character says, Larry, you gotta stay low, oh, it's gonna blow up. That's the whole show. That's what he does. And he just pisses people off nonstop, which is the brilliance of it. So I'm excited and sad as usual. My a couple of my favorite shows that I watch on TV. I know you're not as much on the broadcast sitcoms as I am, but Young Sheldon is ending, which I was a big fan of The Big Bang Theory, and I've loved the show. Another show that's ending is Bob Hart's Abishola on CBS. Another good show that I liked. I liked Mike and Molly, so I followed him over to this new show, Chuck Lorre, and that whole combination. I thought it was great. And speaking of Mike and Molly, I texted you saw a preview of a new Netflix movie coming out starring Jerry Seinfeld, and um
Melissa
what's the heck?
McCarthy.
I had a brain freeze. Melissa McCarthy, and it looks fantastic. It's about the old advertising age, the cereal thing, the Kellogg's, I guess.
It's about the Pop Tart, isn't it? I think it's about
Yes,
the inventor of Pop Tarts. I can't wait. Amy Schumer's in it too, and
a lot of big cast.
yeah,
Visually, it looks stunning. Like when I saw it visually, I'm like, wow, it looks like a really cool kind of Art Nouveau kind of movie.
yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
few weeks away too, I think.
Yeah, Netflix. So check it out. Real quick on reality TV because we can never escape it because you and I love it so much. Um, on Deal or No Deal Island, they didn't have an elimination this week, so there was a banker's bonus. And spoiler alert, it said no elimination, so everyone lived another day, and they added over $800,000 to the pot.
Yeah, she was stuck to her guns, and that was a big win for them. Can you imagine if the whole episode went by and they added $100?
I know.
They
At
probably
that
had they
point,
probably had one of those that just burned the episode from the existence. This
it's
never
like
happened. Do you hear me?
never happened. It was like once it's 50-50, I'm always going to go with the higher amount because either way, it's like I don't know, you know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
I just read something today. I wanted to find out where it was filmed. It was apparently filmed off the coast of Panama, on an island off the coast of Panama. So there you
Interesting.
go. Yeah, I was thinking more on where Survivor is filmed, like in Fiji or
Fiji,
something like that. Yeah, but speaking of Survivor, predictable.
yeah. Hey,
Another predictable
finally
episode.
it took them 11 days to get Flint, and they broke all the records for futility, and then they
Yep.
finally snuck out a win.
You know, I
Underdog.
was I should not mention names on this podcast anymore. And the reason why I'll say that is because I kept saying, "Oh, Ben and Charlie, Ben and Charlie," and of course now the voices start talking about Ben and Charlie. So I'm like, "Oh God, here we go. It's
You
setting up
you
for
you
something."
jinxed them.
I think I did. I think I did. I don't know, bro. Uh,
I think your thoughts are safe because it was probably filmed like what 9 months ago. So I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
you could jinx
yeah.
them too
I know,
much.
I know. Same thing with Deal or No Deal Island. I still think Dawson is in a really good place right now, but we'll see. Speaking of alliances, let's talk baseball. That's our
Nice.
big
There's
focus
your
this week.
segue. There's your
There you
segue.
go. Um, so I like to always start on a positive note. How about those
Okay, so I was
Rockies?
gonna say, so not the Mets.
Not the Mets. Not the Mets and not yeah, I tried to pull a April Fool's joke on my buddy here and I had this hat on. We
For
both
you,
do
if you
not
can't
like
see,
this team.
he's
Yeah,
holding an Astros hat. And as I
Astros.
logged in, he's wearing the Astros hat, and I said, "You're a day late on April Fool's." There,
Yeah, man.
I knew for the second it was on screen that there's absolutely no way you could keep that on in good faith.
Anyway, speaking of baseball, we're not going to talk about the Mets yet. I can't. My heart can't take it.
Yeah, we'll ease into that. We'll ease into that one for you.
Dude, you killed the Rockies today.
It
Cubbies.
was a
Was it like
it was a
14-1 or something like that?
12-2, yeah.
12. Oh, so
There's a
it's close. So it's
real
close.
cool moment from the game. You'll have to see a highlight of from the eighth inning. The Cub fans were chanting Cody, Cody, Cody. Boog says it on air. He says, "Listen to the Cub fans chanting." As he says it, Bellinger hits a homer off the scoreboard. It was
I told you
it
Bellinger was
was
going to have a
crazy.
good year. I had a feeling. I knew it. Bellinger was due. For those who might not know, if you're not as geeky as baseball as we are, Bellinger was a rookie in 2017. Came up the same year as Aaron Judge, the Yankees, and he was highly projected to be a superstar, much in the line of other superstars. And he started off very strong. He was rookie of the year for the National League, and just he had a couple of really off seasons with the Dodgers, to the point where they traded him to the Cubs. Is that what happened? Or
No,
they?
no,
Yeah, I don't
they
know that
declined
part.
his qualifying offer.
Oh,
He was a
that's what
free
it
agent.
was. He was a free
Yeah.
agent. And the Cubs brilliantly, and the Cubs do this a lot. I will give you guys credit. Picked him up. I mean, they got him, and I think they got him for a really good deal. I mean,
Yeah, it
I
was a 1 year contract, so there was really no risk.
the thing they did take a long time to re-sign him this year because Boras, and that happened throughout Major League Baseball. Boras, Scott Boras, I call him something else, but fans don't like him necessarily. But you know what? If I'm a baseball player, that's who I want because he's going to get me the most bang for my buck. But so yeah, the Cubs had a rocky first game. I mean, it was a little start, but you guys, I mean, it is of course the Colorado Rockies. So, but it did
Hey, a win's a win.
the KB play? Is he playing yet, or
He
is
is,
he?
yep.
Yeah.
He got hit by a pitch, actually, I think twice,
Oh, I
and he
don't like to
missed a
hear
homer
that.
by about a foot, just barely.
I
Cold.
gotta root for that guy.
Yeah. Now Tigers are off to a nice start.
For those listeners who are listening to the program, I'm giving Charlie a look right now.
Hey, they've only beaten the Mets once. They
Hey,
they swept the White Sox.
and I hate the White Sox more than the Tigers. So there you go. And we have that in common, right?
Hey, but at
So,
least the Mets didn't lose today.
uh, let's all right. Well, we're gonna rip the band-aid off. It's okay. It's all right. Um, I am I'm a fan of you'll not necessarily agree with this all the time, but I am a fan of positivity. I do like positivity. I do like
Except when it comes for the Mets.
except I really it's a 37 baseball seasons. I don't count a couple of blips that happened, and we can talk about the blips that happened. There's three of them about. But to be a New York Mets fan for 37 seasons since 1986. And I was a fan way before then, but I'm kind of using the 1986 World Series win as a jumping off point. Mind you, I was 15 years old in 1986, and we won't talk about how old you were.
I was alive.
You were alive.
So that's what
But
counts. The Mets have won in my life.
you were born in 85, right? Yeah.
That's it.
So you were born in 85. So you were a baby. You were a year old basically
Yep.
when they won the World Series. Um so and I'll never forget it. My dad and I watching the TV, watching Channel 9 in New York. I was living in 86. I was living in New Jersey at the time. We just moved to New Jersey. And watching the Mets play and rooting them on and going to watch a ticker tape parade after they won the World Series, watching that ball go Mookie Wilson through Bill Buckner's legs and all that happened. And yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like thinking, this is the team that's gonna work. This is the magic. This is the New York Mets. We got the dream work to make a team work. We sang the whole song, did the whole thing. We won't talk about the Super Bowl shuffle, but that's another thing. But we got all that excitement going on, and I don't know if you were alive for that. Maybe you were just born.
I was. I
It was
was.
85, right?
January 86. Yeah.
Oh, 86.
85, 86 season.
We
I
are
was
the Bears
alive.
shuffling through. Da, 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 da. Anyway, Jim McMahon, I can't get that out of my head. Refrigerator Perry. All right. Anyway, I digress. So, here the Mets are. They win the World Series. I'm excited. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. 87. Almost 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. Then you had the Braves dynasty in the 1990s. We won't talk about that. Um, and so, we get up to, I'm going to fast forward the story a bit. There's a couple of things in there, but I'm going to fast forward to 2015. We make it. We have a good team. David Wright. It's a good team. We have, of course, in his prime, one of the best pitchers ever in
I was
his
at the
prime.
Mets pennant clinching win. Did you know that?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was
At
at Wrigley
Wrigley,
Field. Yes,
2015. See,
I
there you
just
go.
had to pick that together. Yes, the Mets clinched the pennant against the Cubs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that was a season in which no one was expecting much from the Cubs. It was like the breakout season of the young core.
you had
So
one more year.
to make it to the NLCS was big.
One more year. Honestly, for the Mets to make it to the NLCS was pretty big. I mean,
Yeah.
so we had pitchers in their prime. You had Syndergaard. You had it was we make it to the World Series, and I'll say when we faced the Kansas City Royals, I thought we have a chance. Like, um,
You were playing a
I
wild card team.
yeah, and I'm like, oh, the Mets can win it. And I don't want to bring this podcast fully down, but I'll insert a reality. My dad was dying. He was in the hospital. We were watching the World Series together. My dad, for those who don't know, big, big, gigantic, lifelong Mets fan, almost lifelong. He was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan until they broke his heart and moved to LA. It's one of the reasons why I hate the Dodgers. But and so we're watching a game, we're excited, and they just fell apart. I mean, I'm excited still because he got to see his team in the World Series one more time. Again, positive. But I was really sad when the Royals beat the Mets. I was hopeful. My expectations were high. So we're like, oh, we'll get them next year. And then this killer team from Chicago kind of made everyone's day. It made this Met fan wear a Cubs hat. I was rooting for the Cubs. I just became, I don't know what happened. Like I became a bandwagon Cub fan.
I
I'm like,
mean,
yeah, you
how could you
go
not?
Rizzo, you go KB, you go Javi Baez. You're like all like just rooting for this young stud team that the Cubs were. Um, and so, 2016, the Cubs win the World Series. And, so we had a series of years after the Mets won where injuries, you had pitching injuries, Syndergaard, I don't know what happened. It's like,
DeGrom,
DeGrom with his arm, when you throw strong, and you
Scherzer.
know this, Charlie, when you throw strong, you're gonna eventually injure yourself. And DeGrom, I mean, I don't wish bad things on anyone. I wasn't happy with the way he left the team. I will say that. It didn't make me happy at all.
But
But I don't want
you knew he wasn't gonna. It's not like he was gonna make 30 starts a year every year. It's just not gonna happen.
no. And it ended up being probably a good deal for the Mets because,
Yeah,
right now he's on the injured list with the Texas Rangers. Is Scherzer playing?
not yet. Nope.
Yeah, Scherzer's injured with the Texas Rangers. So I mean, eh, I'm less upset about Scherzer, honestly, because he wasn't with us that long. Although the whole Verlander Scherzer thing kind of, once that happened, I will say last season, once that all kind of deflated, I was like, oh, well, 2024 is, I knew it. The thing I'm upset about, and we talked about this a little bit, do not throw do not sell a bill of goods to your fans that you're not going to deliver. And when I say sell, I don't mean that ownership is necessarily saying the Mets are going to win the World Series or the Mets are going to, but they did say in the offseason and before that we're going to be competitive. And I know what you say, it's only 4 games in, but the way they're performing on the field, and we're not talking, they're not playing the Yankees or the Dodgers. They're not playing those teams. They're playing the Brewers and the Tigers so far. But the way they're performing tells me that this team has no soul. I do not see it. And in order for there to be hope, you can lose a game. Listen, I don't care. I understand this is baseball and it's a long season. You can lose a game, but show me that you have some oomph that you want to win, you want to play. When you just kind of just, oh, you know, and I just
Okay,
gave
I hear you.
emotion.
I
You
feel
know what
you.
I mean? And
It sucks to start that, but here, let me give you an
okay,
example, and you
go
don't even
ahead,
have to go
Charlie.
very far back. You want to be optimistic?
Okay.
Look to your own division rivals. 2021, the Braves won the World Series. Do you know what the Braves did the first 4 games of that season?
They lost.
They were 0 and 4, and they had struck out as a team more than 40 times. The White Sox started their season that same way this year. Those are the only 2 times that's ever happened in the history of the sport.
Okay.
And they won the World Series.
Okay.
Not saying the Mets are going to win the World Series, but I bet you those Braves fans felt how you felt now, if not worse, because at least the Mets have had a couple close games. Mets went
Yeah,
into extra innings the other night.
yeah, that was a little encouraging. I will say that was a little light. And then, the negative Nelly came out of me. I'm like, but we lost. We still lost, and
Still lost.
I understand it's a long season. I don't like, listen, I'm a realist. I don't like fake optimism. And when I say fake optimism, if you look at X and you look at Mets fans, and I talked to you about this a little bit, there's two extremes, right? You have the ones that are like, oh, go Steve Cohen. We love Steve Cohen. Whatever Steve Cohen does, he's a god. Yay. He's the best owner in baseball, which I don't dispute. Okay. I understand his wallet. We've talked about this, but that's not realistic. And I feel if you want to help a product, if that product is mediocre, you don't necessarily buy all into the product. As a consumer, you have to show a little bit. Yeah, you're a fan, but you have to show a little bit that you're pissed off that the product isn't performing where it should. And I
So
don't
you want like a Oakland A's boycott, like 10,000 out front of the
not
stadium.
not
Don't
to that
go.
It's a listen, that's
Yeah.
appropriate for the Oakland A's fans. I absolutely agree with them. The Mets aren't at that level, thank God. I'll say that. We're not the sky is falling. It's not like that necessarily. At least he's not selling the team. The team's not moving. I understand what you're saying. I don't want the other extreme either, where it's like, give him whatever you want and let carte blanche, right? And just like, oh, you're a god. No, you're doing some things that are you haven't really explained it. Not necessarily have to explain everything, but at least your fans are part of the journey. As Cubs fans truly know, Cubs fans are probably one of the most diehard fan bases on the planet. I'll say that. And so you guys, there's still realistic expectations with Cub fans. Even when you guys were losing year after year, you're like, oh, I wish we would win. But you still were fans, and that's great, and pushing forward. But I'm kind of in the middle, right? I'm not part of the team where like Sell Cohen sucks, blah blah blah. I don't think he sucks. I think he's playing a chess game right now, and we don't know what all those moves are, and we're not supposed to necessarily. But let me tell you something, watching that game, it's pissing me off right now to see what we're not doing. And it's not just now, it's the 37 years of disappointment all kind of jumbled up together that's causing the angst that I'm feeling. You
I
understand?
mean,
Yeah,
you're more than entitled.
yeah. That's all. That's Tim's bitch session for the day. I am no more passionate about the New York Mets than almost anything else. Charlie knows this, just like he's very passionate about his Cubbies. Listen, I'm flying to Chicago, gonna hang out with my buddy, and we're gonna see the Mets and the Cubs uh, play at Wrigley Field. And
Yeah,
hopefully the
in
Mets are
June.
doing a little better then, and you're not gonna trounce us that badly. I know
Well,
you hope for the
maybe the
opposite.
Mets will be doing better and will trounce you. How about that?
Okay. All right. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun 3 game series. Definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully we get some pitchers come, some, we got
Hey,
Kodai pitching at Wrigley
Kodai should
Field.
come back. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mania pitched well.
Yeah. And hopefully, I don't know what's going on with Tyler McGill. I mean, I didn't expect him to be like superb. Luis Severino again, I'm not surprised. I mean, he didn't do much with the Yankees. Um, I don't know. We'll see.
I think he'll
Quintana
be okay.
again. Quintana has control issues. Quintana, it just historically has issues. Yeah, I'm not surprised, but we'll see. I mean, and we need hitting too. I mean, honestly, the bats need to wake up. Lindor needs to wake up. Alonso needs to wake up. Alonso did have a home run. I mean, and Nimmo had. I mean, Nimmo. I love Nimmo. So, speaking of baseball, real quick, I wanted to bring this up. Davis Schneider, Madeline, your brother. He hit a walk-off homer again against for the Blue Jays to win the game.
I
I
think
mean,
it was top
hello.
nine,
Oh, it's top nine.
but it
Okay.
was to take the lead.
Oh my God, David Schneider on
I
fire.
he needs to start. He needs to be in that
Yeah.
lineup. I mean, he's the game he started, he homered, and then he comes off the bench and homers. I mean, come on.
Unbelievable. I am so excited. I texted Madeline. I'm like, we're rooting
So
for him. I'm so
awesome.
excited. It's kind of cool, to be baseball fans like we are, to have a personal stake in something that's not our team, that's other than Cubs, Mets, or whatever it is. And so I love it. And Madeline's such a sweetheart. I'm so excited for that, for her and her family. And hopefully
Yeah.
David, it seems like a good year for Davis. He's
And
he's
they're a good
he's
team.
they're a good
They're a
team. Yeah,
good team.
Blue Jays. I don't dislike the Blue Jays. I like the Blue Jays. My mom is Canadian, so I always had a place for Toronto in my heart, and I'll root for them. I love Vladdy Jr., McNeil, and Hoskins.
What a start to the season. A couple
Yay!
teams benches empty.
Of course,
That's when you know it's going to be a good year
when
when
it
teams
happens
win.
on opening day.
Now, how do you feel about that whole situation? I know it's probably a little harder for you because it happened to your own team, but
So here's the deal. I I'm gonna get hate from my fellow fans. Here we go. I think McNeil overreacted.
I mean, the slide was
Um,
legal. It was clean. It was
however,
late, but by letter of the law, he held onto the bag.
However, there is a long history, for those who don't know, with Reese Hoskins, who is a former Philly, against the Mets, and there's a long history there. And quite frankly, I want to keep this a G-rated show, so but I would say a word that I don't want to say on the show to describe him. I'm not a fan of him at all. He is not, and this whole baby thing that he did from the
Wah,
dun, wah,
wah. It was
wah.
pretty funny. Come on. It was pretty funny.
That's
It
right.
was pretty funny.
Laugh. Yeah, it was funny.
I mean,
It's funny.
it was
It was
pretty funny. You
funny.
got to give it to him.
It was, yo, it was funny, right? Right, I'll give it to you.
It was pretty funny.
It was funny.
The John Boy breakdown of it, I was laughing so hard at it. He does those so well.
Yeah, I looked at him like, it's one of those things where you're like, you're trying not to laugh. It's just
But
like,
it happens. See, and the thing is imagine if you're Lindor or Pete, and because of that, then the Mets threw at him. Now one of them might wear one later in the series. Like, you don't want that.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't. There's a couple of things that happened after that kind of was weird to me. I don't know at the point that he threw behind him if that was necessarily the right move to do at that point. I also don't like, on the other hand, I don't like the way our new manager, or rookie manager, who I'm not impressed thus far, he basically didn't come to bat for, without lack of a better pun or whatever, for McNeil, and kind of and push for, that ridiculous. It just he kind of just, and that's I could tell you, Mets Twitter, formal X or whatever it's called. That's what pissed people off more than anything, is the fact that this manager didn't. And I'm sorry, if you right or wrong, if you're the manager of a team, you have to be there for your boys. Like, you have to, like,
You
be
don't
up
want
in
to you don't
front.
want to pull a Tony La Russa, throw your
Oh,
own guy under the bus.
exactly. Yeah, there's a reason why he's no longer. Again, White Sox
I
conversations.
have some close friends who are big Sox fans. Are so glad that he's gone,
Yeah, I
and
would be
that was one of
too.
the big ones.
I'm not a Larissa fan either.
I'm a Hall of
Yeah.
Famer, bro. I'm a Hall of Famer.
Who cares, bro? There are people in the Hall of Fame, bro, that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Oh, did I say that out loud? Yes. And there are people who aren't in the Hall of Fame that should be in the Hall of Fame, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know, dude. All right. I'm going to remain hopeful. I'm going to remain optimistic. Listen, okay, I'm wearing the shirts. I am watching the games. I am rooting for my team. I still have that tattoo that's not going anywhere. So yeah, well,
By the time we record the next episode, the Mets will have won a game. You'll feel better.
we have 7 days to do it. So if they haven't, that's going to be a whole other conversation.
All right. So all right. So to give some listeners some added incentive, what
Okay.
what does Tim do if the Mets have not won a game by the time we film the next episode?
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to wear that Astros hat in public for like a week. Would that be a
No.
that'd be too big of a
Wait,
punishment?
wait, 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 wait. What is this, double punishment? It's not punishment enough. My team hasn't won. Wow.
But see, the thing is you have to be confident that they're going to, and that's how confident you are that you're willing to sacrifice because you know it's not going to happen.
But I'm not. I'm not. Oh man, I hate to say it. I'm not. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have anyway, we're gonna come up with an email address, but for now, just DM us on Instagram and let us know what you want him to do.
Yeah, throw out some suggestions.
Or on TikTok.
Tim's
Message
punishment
us
if
on
the Mets
TikTok or
start 0
Instagram.
and 10 or 0 and 11.
Oh
I
my
can't wait to see
God.
some of the suggestions.
Dude, really? You're gonna do that to me? Wow. Okay. Yeah,
Am I
that's
allowed to
fine.
submit a suggestion?
Sure.
You have to wear a paper bag over your Mets jersey to Wrigley? No, that's too mean. That's too mean.
My first experience to Wrigley, and you're gonna do that? Wow.
That can be game 3.
All
I'm just
right.
kidding.
No, I know. It's okay. It's all right.
And I'm confident that the Mets will have won by this time next week. So,
There you go. So yeah.
and if you really wanted to add an investment, you can put five on them and then double it for a week and then you walk away with a little bit.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, the boom boom. That's what
So
I'm
so
four
jokes
cards.
aside, doom and gloom. How bad do you actually think that they are? You don't think they're this bad? Be
Realistically,
Yeah, give me a range of wins. It doesn't have to be a specific, just a
I
range.
don't want to. I don't want to peg a win number of wins. What else? I'll give a place. I think they're gonna fare better than the Marlins, and I think they're gonna be competitive with.
You think they're probably second or third because
Yeah, no,
Braves are
no,
probably the
no, no,
class
no,
of the
no.
East.
Third, yeah, a third. I'm thinking. I think the Braves and the Phillies are probably better.
You
Um,
you you like I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got to think the Nationals are worse.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Nationals and the
So
Marlins
then
are
you got
near
them
the
at third.
bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, I got them at third. I don't think anybody can really be worse than the Nationals. And watch me like watch my words. They're in the Nationals somehow, or no, I'm not even gonna speak it into an existence. But yeah, definitely the Marlins. The Marlins might. I think what I have kind of is the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets, the Marlins, and the Nationals kind of
Yeah.
there. And the Marlins and the Mets really are interchangeable right now, not just because I root for both teams, although my diehard is always going to be New York Mets. But I kind of that's the way I see it. So no, I don't think they're the Nationals or the NL East at all. I don't see any team really beating this Braves team,
Right.
unfortunately. I
But
hate to
hey,
say
with
it.
three wild card spots, third place could get you in. It could. It could.
You got a lot of good teams in the
You
Central, and you got a lot of good teams on the
Whoa,
West.
whoa, 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 whoa,
All
whoa.
right, you got one good
We're
team in
not
this.
we're not gonna we're not gonna edit that out or allow you to have that. But the AL Central's got to be the worst division in baseball. Easy.
The AL Central?
Yeah, AL
Yeah,
Central.
I'm talking
You're
about the
talking
NL
NL
Central.
Central.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
NL
I'm talking about the
Central.
wild card.
NL Central maybe two, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, the Reds and the Cubs.
Brewers could compete, but I
I don't
don't
want to say
see.
that name.
I don't either. But they're
Yeah, I
hey,
don't.
they haven't lost yet.
I don't hate the Reds.
Brewers are on pace for a 162-0 season.
But
It's gonna happen.
listen, Charlie, this is a different schedule. So there's a lot of unpredictability now too, because you have every team playing every team the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's
So
much more balanced.
yeah, so it's not necessarily, oh, it's going to be East heavy or West Central heavy. It's now, I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, there's still more games against your own
Yes, you're
division,
correct.
right?
You still play more in interdivision, but it's
Right.
not as heavily weighted. You used to play 18 or 19, and now it's down to 12 or 13.
I mean, look, the Rays play the Marlins every year, and it's almost a guaranteed win for the Rays,
Yeah, they have one of
typically.
the best head-to-head interleague records. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So I mean, and we both like the Rays. It's all good, and but yeah, I think uh, the
I
wild
think they're
cards kind
they're a
of.
contender, a fringe contender for a
I think
wild
the
card
Giants
spot.
are going to be a surprise in the West. I think the Giants have done a lot of work on the offseason. Um, I did.
You can eliminate the Rockies.
Yes, we can
Eliminated.
eliminate the Rock. Poor Chris Bryant, right? He
Poor
went for the money
KB.
and he just ended up in a dump of a
But hey, he's
team.
closer to his family in
He
Vegas and
is.
he got
He
paid.
is.
He won a
So
ring. He won an MVP.
real quick, the Athletic. I'm going to give the top teams that you can boo whenever you like. Trust me. It has the Dodgers, the Braves,
Which it's hard to dispute, especially regular season.
the Astros,
Well, so far they might want to take that back.
the Yankees. Yeah, I think the Yankees would be higher
Keep in mind that
personally.
they probably wrote this also before Garrett Cole
Yeah,
was out 2 to 3
yeah,
months.
this is true. This is true.
But the
Uh,
Yankees are off to a very nice start.
the Rangers, they're the World Series champions, so
Yep,
should
defending
be up
champs.
there.
They just had a tough
Uh,
injury too.
they did. The Giants. I see. I'm telling you, the Giants are going to be strong. I think.
I think the
And
Giants are going to be a good team too.
The mayor.
I think you've probably honestly with the expanded playoffs, you have six getting in, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna give the Dodgers the division. You're gonna give the Braves the division. Those two, I think,
Yeah.
are pretty much locked.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Then you take your one NL Central winner. Then I think you've got maybe two teams in the NL Central who don't win the division. You've got the Phillies, you've got the Mets, and then you've got the Diamondbacks, Giants, Padres. That group
Yeah.
of teams.
Yeah.
That's you. I think you're going to have two NL Central teams that won't just one of. I hate to say it, and it's a little. It might sound biased, but I think the Cardinals are going to be bad again.
Good. I hope so.
They lost 90 something games last year, and they
Yeah.
signed a bunch of old pitchers.
It seems
Cardinal
like
fans
they're
aren't
they're
happy.
they're they're in that rebuilding
I think
phase
they're one of the teams that's out
too.
too. And then I really think it just kind of
But
depends
didn't
on.
they didn't they say the Cardinals they were going to sell the team, or did I hear something like that a couple of years? No?
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. All
Not
right.
sure, but
A couple other teams, the Mariners, which they got rid of Kelenic, which was probably a smart move. He went to the Braves. The Orioles, the Orioles been creeping up there. This is the thing, folks. When you have a really bad couple of years, you get round picks. And when they picked Adley Rushman, for example, I one of my favorite players in baseball, without a doubt. One of my
dude,
favorite
how about that
catchers in
front office
baseball.
back to back? They're back to back picks. Adley was their first pick. Gunner was their second pick.
Gunnar Henderson, and
That's 2 for 2 right there.
unbelievable. Like that Orioles,
He's he's gonna finish top 3 or 4 in MVP. I'm telling
and
you.
we talked. This is Orioles are my favorite American League team, so I'm always rooting for the Orioles. And then you got the Blue Jays and the Phillies and the Twins. The Twins, wow, the Twins made some good signings, and then the Padres, but it has the Cardinals above the Rays,
Not a chance.
the Red
Not
Sox,
a chance.
and then it has the lower in the list
Every
81 expected wins. The
There's they
Diamondbacks, the
sleep on the
Cubs,
Rays. They sleep
the
on the Rays for
Cubs,
years. Yeah. What do they have them at? Like 14-ish?
81,
Yeah,
81
that's
wins.
that's depends on where you look.
The Mets are
Fangraphs,
at they have the Mets at
Pacoda was a
80.
little higher on them. They're anywhere between 81 to 84 on the projections. I
The
think
Mets
though that's an over.
Mets are at 80 and Marlins are at 79. They're right below. Um, and then you have all the way at the bottom because I like to go there. The way
Oakland at what,
bottom,
57?
mm-mm, 64 Chicago White Sox. And then they have the Rockies at 65 and then Oakland's at 66 and that Washington's at 68.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if Oakland's gonna not lose 100.
I don't know. Like I think they're
Especially
revving
if they
up for
keep.
that
Have
move.
you seen the rumors and the social media stuff with the A's? So
No.
they've benched and sent down a few players, and the rumors are there's this like website. It's called I think it's called the Last Dive Bar, something like that. It's like a group that's trying to keep the A's in Oakland. They've been selling merchandise and gear, and a few of the players have been supporting this. And it's if you look at yesterday, everybody thought it was an April Fool's joke, but it was real. The A's sent down Esteri Ruiz to AAA. Okay. I don't know if you know much about him. He was a rookie last year.
Yeah, I
He
was a
stole
fan of
63
Lurie's.
bases
Yeah,
last
I'm a
year.
fan of his.
He, in only 2 games, limited action, he was 3 for 7 with like a double. OPS was in the thousands. He'd already stole a couple bases, scored a couple runs. They sent him down.
They're playing
And
to lose.
they've got images of him with a wristband on. Everyone who's been wearing this stuff, the rumors are the owner's mad and he's trying to send a message. So if that turns out to be true, can you imagine the grievances the Players Association could file?
Oh yeah, 100%. And honestly, I know freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence, and I know it's government pertained. I understand all that civic stuff. But when you're an owner of a major league team, there should be a little bit of a freedom of expression for your players too. And especially if, listen, they're still in Oakland until they can build that team that stadium in Las Vegas. Let the fans interact with the players. Let them have, but they're literally for real playing to lose. Like they want to be at the very bottom because when you're at the very bottom, that's where the rebuilding really can kind of take off. And they want to have a contending team once they move to Las Vegas. So
What it's only been 6 games for them, but what do you think the A's run differential is right now? And keep in mind they've won a game.
I can't even imagine. What is it?
It's minus 28.
Ooh, is that terrible?
And they're
Oh
only
my
4 games under
God.
500. They've
See,
scored
that
50,
makes this Mets fan feel a little better.
they've scored 15 runs and they've given up 43.
Oh my God, dude. That's insane. That is
For
insane.
reference, the Mets have allowed 19 runs. I'll
Yeah, I
repeat,
know.
Oakland has allowed 43.
And the Mets pitching is not anywhere up to par at all. So yeah.
And I saw another one that broke down the errors by teams. It's, all the teams that have made 0, 1, 2. It got up to 6 or 7, and then there was a gap. Nothing, 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 nothing. And then there was Oakland at 13 errors already. I mean, they've made 2 times as many
Oh,
errors as any other team in baseball. That's
the first
brutal.
signs a couple of years ago when they got rid of like Kanha and all the big players that they had
He
on
got
that team.
a nice rounding
Love him.
ovation from the Mets fans.
Love
It's nice
him.
to see.
I will always be a fan of
I'm
Adam
always a fan
Parkmark.
of him. Very underrated.
Such a good dude. He just, not just for what he does on the field, but what he does off the field. I'm a big fan of his, and Marcy is his wife, and yeah, when he even when he was in Oakland, I was a fan of his. So when the Mets got him, I was like, yes. Out of the park Mark is what he is on social media. I love him. And he's a foodie. He does these food things
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I love him. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mark Hanna. Yeah, so when they got rid of those players, Oakland, I mean, you had Bassett was part of that whole thing where they went to the Mets, and it was a sign like, okay, we're done here. They're basically following the track of the Raiders to Vegas, and they just speaking of Vegas, and they just are closed the Tropicana's last day was 2 days ago, and that's where the renderings are amazing. The park looks
It looks so cool.
unbelievable.
It looks
And
really,
I love
really cool.
Vegas, and I'm sorry, Oakland fans, but I will have to go to that park at some point because it's literally right across the street from MGM Grand, and I mean, it's a great location.
Yeah, like you said, the
Yeah,
renderings look amazing.
amazing for a ballpark. Like the first real, truly futuristic park that I have seen in this century that kind of represents a new era for baseball, and
Yeah.
it looks amazing. And I will they. I guess they will be the Las Vegas Athletics. I mean,
Yeah. I
Athletics have
imagine Las
been.
Vegas Raiders.
They were in Philadelphia. Athletics. They've moved all over the place as the Athletics. So yeah. Um, yeah.
Any bold predictions for the season?
Any bold predictions for this season? I think it's going to be a pretty predictable season. I think.
So you're
Yeah,
saying Dodgers in the World Series against like
Atlanta.
someone like the Yankees?
I think
Yeah.
Dodgers and the Braves in the NLCS. I think.
I
Oof.
mean, hey,
At that point,
if there's one thing the
I
Dodgers are good at, it's winning 100 games and losing in the first round. So
that's the only
you never know.
scenario I will tell you straight
You
up,
never know. You
Charlie.
just got to get in.
Only scenario I will root for the Dodgers is when they're playing the Braves, and I hate that even. I don't want to do that.
Okay,
Um,
what if the Dodgers played the Braves in the NLCS and then they played the Astros? Would you have to root for them twice in a row?
I would root for the Dodgers against the Astros. The only time I won't, I have to say it. I I'm not a fan of this team, but if the Dodgers played the Yankees, I would root for the Yankees. It goes back to 1958 and them leaving New York, and yeah, and my dad was a Yankee fan for a couple of years. I rooted for the Giants too. He liked the National League always, but until the Mets came, the Metropolitans in 1962, there was a gap of no baseball for a National League fan in New York, other than the Giants. And the Giants went to San Francisco anyway. So, yeah, I guess to make a long story short, as I always do, yeah, I guess I would root for the Dodgers. I think it's gonna be on the. I don't know. I think Mariners and Yankees maybe NLCS, ALCS.
I like the Mariners team as well.
Yeah. I'm hoping for maybe an underdog to kind of come in there, like the Mets or the Cubs. You never know, right?
All you gotta do is get in. Look at how many wild card winners have won the
Yeah.
World Series.
Never,
Honestly, it's
never the Mets, but that's okay.
all you gotta do is get in. You never
The
know.
Mets won the wild card when there was no wild. I mean, the Mets won the World Series when there was no wild card yet. So yeah, what about you? Do you have any bold predictions?
I know you know he's one of my guys, but I think Gunnar Henderson's going to be in the running for MVP this year. I really
I
do.
agree with that. I agree with that. Kid's a stud. I
I
agree with that.
think I think it's going to be a really fun baseball year. There's so much
Any
good
brook
young
any
talent.
breakout rookies?
Breakout rookies. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you know who I was big on before the season started, and so far he's off to a roaring start is the Cubs signing of Shota.
Yeah,
Man, was
and
he
I'm
great.
just rub that salt in. Okay. All right. I was hoping for him. But yeah, the good signing. We both lost out on Yamamoto, but that's
Getting and then the Cubs opened up playing Texas, so I've already got to watch it Wyatt Langford a few games, and then now they're playing the Rays, so I've been watching him. Man, for a guy that was this time last year at the University of Florida, I mean that's pretty crazy.
unbelievable. Yeah. I
He's
think, your team is going to surprise some people, I
I
think. Not Cubs
I
fans. I think Cubs fans
I you know, a lot of Cub
yeah.
fans have think the world's ending and they
Mad
stay.
fans
You should have
too.
seen them after 0-2, and here they are now 3-2 on pace to win 97
See, I
games.
told you. I told you they
See,
were
but
going to do it.
it's that's just it's
That's the
the
nature of a
casuals that aren't
baseball.
used to a marathon season is what it
Yeah,
is.
it's a nature of a typical baseball fan. I mean, honestly, I think that's the where the term bandwagon really comes from is from baseball. We have a portion, will you agree? We have a portion of fans that don't even do anything until like September when all of a
Oh,
sudden
for
the team is
sure.
like
Or
in
if only if
the
they're winning or
yeah.
yeah. I'll
So
tell you what though, I think the Cubs are going to be playing October baseball this year.
I think so
Even
too.
though even though the over-unders think that they're probably going to miss, but I think they're in. I mean, they should have been in last year. They faltered down the stretch. They were like 5-12, 5-14 and missed by a game. We were at a couple heartbreaking losses, but
I
I think
promise you this. The next time the Mets face the Cubs in the NLCS, correctly, I will be there. Absolutely. I will be there. Mark my words. It's not going to be
yeah,
this year. Mark my words. Oh my goodness gracious. So I'm excited for the baseball season, right?
yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna
Oof.
be fun. Well, I'm just excited. We're going to our first game of the year on Sunday. We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna go see Shohei at Wrigley. So
Oh,
that
the
should be pretty
Dodgers and the
fun.
Cubs.
Dodgers and the Cubs.
Oh, go Cubs. I
And
hope
then
Shohei
a little
loses.
fun fact, the only stadium that Shohei's yet to play in is Wrigley Field. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I saw Shohei
The
last year at Marlins Park.
the when he was with the Angels, the only year the Angels came to Chicago was the year he was out with Tommy John, out for
Oh
the
my
season. So
God.
he is Wrigley Field is
I
the
got
only MLB park he
goosebumps.
hasn't played
That's
yet.
so I love Shohei.
So we're gonna see his very first series at Wrigley. So that should be fun.
Enjoy. Oh wow. I'm rooting for the Cubs. You know it. Have a really good game. Enjoy your day at Wrigley and go Cubs go.
Go Cubs.
That's
Hopefully
what
we
I'm
sing the
saying.
song.
Yep, exactly. And you fly that flag.
When's your first MLB game of the year?
I don't know yet.
TBD, TBD.
TBD. For those who don't know, my wife is currently off campus, so to speak, helping her sister out. So it's kind of arranging that, and she's in Boca. I'm here. It's a half-hour drive, but the whole arranging coverage is a bit of an issue. And I could go to a game by myself, but it's just it's fun to be with people, and just I don't know.
May
Yeah,
17th,
May.
18th, and 19th.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. There will be Tim's first games of the season at one of those three.
Hey, Erica.
If it's the Mets, maybe you'll make an exception.
I might. I might go by myself. See this lone, lonely guy in the outfield because no one's going to the game. Going, oh
There's got to
man!
be one
Oh,
local Miamian who will at least go.
oh, there's a lot of Mets fans down here, without a doubt. By the way, speaking of the Marlins, because I just pulled them up on my phone, they lost 3-1 to the 3-2 Angels today.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
and the
Marlins are
Marlins are
0
0
and
and 6.
6.
So there's a second instance where you can feel a little better.
But then again, my two teams are losers.
One more time. One more time. Take a look
Yeah,
at the calendar. Deep breath.
I
It's a marathon,
know.
not a
I
sprint.
know. I know. All right.
Remember to send in your suggestions on what Tim must endure if the Mets have yet to win by this time next week. But again,
Seriously?
they will have won. They will have won.
Seriously?
They will have won.
Seriously?
They'll have won.
All right. Anyway, good chatting with you as always, buddy. Our episode next week is scheduled. Hopefully, schedule is pending. We're gonna have Stephanie from the floor join us next week on Around the Bases.
I can't wait
Until
to get some
then,
behind the scenes
of the
from that.
floor,
Cannot wait.
yeah. That was our sister show, I will say, on Fox.
Yeah.
To We Are Family. So I'm excited about that. Until next week, I'm Tim Sternberg with my buddy.
Charlie Seymour.
And we will see you then on Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast. Have a good week. Bye.